But then there comes some other stuff here in this chapter. Let there be no sexual immorality, no impurity or greed among you. Such sins have no place among God's people. Obscene stories, foolish talk, or coarse jokes, these are not for you. Instead, let there be thankfulness to God. Now, some of you are a little older than I am. Does anybody remember when TV first came out? Kids are like, no, TV hasn't been here forever. I've talked to my dad a little bit about this. He remembers when they got their first TV and everything else. And there's a show that just, for me, is synonymous with the beginning of TV. Well, two, but one is the Howdy Doody Show, and the other one is the Lone Ranger. Bring back any memories for some of you? I've watched these shows in reruns and stuff, and in those shows, was there anything that you wouldn't show to your kids? Is there anything? I mean, the kids would probably look at it and go, really, Dad? Are you serious? This was cool. But it was clean. It was pure. Look at TV today. Look at the things that we look at today that we find commonplace today. Look at the difference, because I noticed myself the other day, my kids were watching a rerun of Friends. I hated that show for various reasons. But part of it is I had an offense to that show with the moral standards of the people in that show. Compared to what we have on TV today, that show was very moral. And I go back and I look at the 60s and the 50s, and well, I didn't go back any farther than that. But you look at how things have loosened up. There's place now in our world for coarse jokes, for obscene words, and we find them as commonplace. Well, you know what? Even back in the biblical times when Paul was writing this, he said, there's no room for that in the life of a Christian. And God has really been hitting me hard, because I work with football players. I work with football coaches. And if you want to talk about a place where there's coarse jokes and there's impure things that they talk about, it's there. And I'm so thankful this year I've got another coach that doesn't do those things with me. And Coach Taylor and I are kind of taking a stand against no bad language, none of that. And the head coach is like, we're not going to put up with bad language from the kids. And when I slip, call me on it. And it's just sad that he thinks when I slip instead of if I slip. And I'm going, there's no place for this in my life. I don't want it to be there. I want to be the example. I want to be the light that shows the rest of the people what this looks like, what life can look like without these things. He says, you can be sure that no immoral, impure, greedy person will inherit the kingdom of Christ and of God. For a greedy person is an idolater, worshiping the things of this world. How many guys just got to have that stuff? I love my kids, but man, I got to have that new video game system, Dad. I got it yesterday even. Can I get a GameCube for my room? I really don't need jeans, but I can use a new GameCube as we're clothes shopping. Got to have the stuff. And I remember talking to my wife at one time, it'd be really nice not to have to worry every month that we've got enough money to get through. It'd just be good if God would just bless us with all this money so that we can do these things. And I said it in the right terms, but my motivation was, oh boy, there's some stuff I want to get. God got a hold of me and says, you can't do that. You're worshiping the things of this world. You're not worshiping me. You're not following after me with your whole heart. Okay, God. Just make it sure that we have enough money to put food on the table, clothes on the kids' back, and have a roof over our head, please. He says, I have never let you down yet, and I'm not going to start. And he provided a way for us to buy new kids for their clothes. That might have been a Freudian slip. Maybe just a little bit. We had a way to get new clothes for the kids this year that didn't cost us. We even had enough money to buy a new home computer because our other one said, see ya. And it's good. God has been good even though it came through bad things. If you don't know what the bad things is, my oldest son got hit by a pickup truck about a month ago. Well, he's running faster now. And It was one of those things that it's never the call you want to get, ever, as a parent. Dad, I got hit on the way home. What, somebody punched you? No, I got hit by a car on the way home. I'll be right there. I tested gravity off that ladder in a hurry and got down and got to him, and thank God no broken bones. He's fine. He's back to playing again and all the rest of the things. He's completely back to health. But through that settlement that came through the insurance company, God provided for us something that we didn't know was going to be coming a month ago. I didn't like going through what we had to go through, but I see the way God has been working behind and making things happen. And the settlement was way more than what we expected on top of it, so we were able to buy the computer and the clothes. Thank God. He is good, even though bad things happen to us. But if we worship the things of this world, we become an idolater. We let things get in the way of who is really number one, or who's supposed to be number one in our lives. God is first. He gave us 10 commandments in Exodus. He gave us a lot of things, and through all of those things, you know what he said? He said, let me be first. If you let me be first, I will take care of all the second, third, and fourth things that come. If you make me first in your life, nothing else can get in the way, even of a toddler. He says, Paul go Sorry, I've got ADD too. It's okay. He says, don't be fooled by those who try and excuse these sins. For the anger of God will fall on all who disobey him. Don't participate in the things these people do. I used to say, you know what? I'm forgiven. I live a life. I'm free to be who I want to be and free to do whatever I want to do. I can get away with anything. Paul says all things are possible for me. And I would forget the second part of that and says, but not all things are beneficial. I can do anything in my freedom. But some of those things are destructive. And here he is. He says, don't be fooled by those who try and excuse their sins. Say, oh, well, I'm just a screw up. You're just going to have to excuse me. Well, the 6th time in a row you step on my toe, I'm beginning to think you don't really want forgiveness. You just want an excuse to step on my toe. When you continue to do the same things that get in the way of your relationship with Christ, say, oh, I'm just a screw up. I'm sorry, God. I'm beginning to think maybe that we really aren't sorry for what we've done. Maybe we really don't want to change or correct our behavior. Maybe we really don't want to change who we are and allow God to change us from the inside out. We don't excuse sin. God forgives sins. He doesn't excuse it. You get the difference in those words there? Forgiveness means, yes, you did wrong. You did something that was completely not right. But I am going to forgive you for it. I'm going to look past your sin because I love you so much. Remember last week I talked about if we love each other deeply, it will cover over a multitude of sins. It'll cover over the things that we do wrong to each other, and we can all get hurt just a little bit. Well, God's the same way. He says, well, I can look past and forgive you because I love you. That doesn't mean I excuse it. By excusing somebody, you say, well, it's okay to do that again. You just made a mistake. When we do things with intentionality, there is no excuse. There can only be forgiveness. So if we continue to do the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, we're looking to be excused, not forgiven. And there's a big difference there. Don't participate in the things that these people do. Don't participate in the things that the greedy people do. Don't participate in the immoral or impure things that people do. God doesn't want that for you. Not because it's a shameful thing, not because he's going to be angry with you, because he knows it destroys you. Just like with my child who decides he's going to put his hand up a vacuum cleaner. And I say, Justin, don't do that! I'm not angry. Yeah, you. I know that there's going to be a scar left there now. And there is still from when he was a year old. And he stuck his hand up a vacuum cleaner. You don't need to test that one. Trust me.